Hey Switchers, welcome back. Kanan here and welcome to my review of Aerial Knights Never Yield. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to keep yourself up to date on all my brand new videos. And I've got some new content coming soon as well. And also click that link down below to take you to our community Discord. Come for the streaming, stay for the chat. And so let's find out whether Aerial Knights Never Yield will make it onto the Wall of Fame or maybe the Wall of Shame, or indeed somewhere in that middle part. Her gameplay. Okay, so strictly speaking, it's really a endless runner where there's not actually an endless runner to it. It's all set out in a certain amount of levels, and also you get a story to the actual game as well. I'll kind of like keep that spoiler free, but basically you're stealing something that once I think belonged to you back. And I think from the beginning you kind of like get a feeling that you're not just a normal person. The story's told as a whole through kind of like these cutscenes, and yeah, they're okay, but I didn't really pay that much attention to them. And as a whole, I didn't feel like the actual story gripped me like I wanted it to. The game has kind of like three type of modes to it, a normal, a hard and an insane one. And as a whole, when you actually get to some obstacles, it slows down the actual gameplay so that you can think a little bit, and then it gives you a warning, the fact that there's an actual obstacle there. And as you can see, the harder it gets, the less of these you actually get and the more obstacles you can actually get in the levels. The actual gameplay in itself is you basically have a high jump, a middle jump, a slide and kind of like a sprint as well. Now if you're anything like me, I just basically kept my finger on the sprint button, and from the get-go I played it that way, only releasing my finger from this button from time to time. You will however have loads of different things to jump, slide and sprint through, such as windows, jumping over and under cars, under mines, under tables, over tables, pillars, roads, forests, offices and much more. I did notice whilst actually playing it that you kind of like in some bits phase through the actual objects. It's kind of like if you press the button too early or too late, it registers it as an actual accomplished jump or slide, but you actually end up phasing almost through half of the objects. Another problem that I encountered on some of the levels on some of the slides was the doors were actually parallel to you, or more or less was, and you couldn't see the fact that you had to slide underneath the doors. That meant that you died a few times, which kind of hurts because it tallies how many times you die per level. As you progress through the actual levels, you'll be presented with kind of like boss battles and also some extra sneaky levels. On most levels there are these little coins that you can collect, and I believe these are actually to unlock some costumes. And as you can see, I've unlocked quite a few of them and I've picked my favourite. The game sometimes has long load-ins, or at least longer than I would think that they should have, considering how long the actual levels are. And yes, you'll probably be completing this game in probably an hour and a half, as it does actually say on the blurb of the game. And you are meant to go back and complete the other levels and also try and beat your score. And the funny thing about this is there's no online leaderboard, which is kind of weird and almost like a missed opportunity, or at least as far as I'm concerned. I'll also say right here that some of the levels kind of like outstay their welcome, kind of like they go on too long before they change and things, or at least something different happens in them. And on certain other levels you definitely get a kind of deja vu feeling from other levels that you've played as well. But apart from that, I found that the controls worked really well. The camera angles that it knocks into now and again worked really well. And I think some of the levels where you go against a van or against these like robot things that hover in the air were well thought out and pretty cool. Graphically, it's definitely a very stylized game, and I think it's cel shaded, isn't it? And I think it kind of suits the game really, really well, which is mind-boggling when some of the set pieces are really impressive. You've got explosions happening all around you, you're dodging and weaving, and then in other sections you kind of like just literally doing the same thing over and over again with the same set pieces. It's just really weird why they would do this. I do really like the fact that the camera angles change here and there. That doesn't happen half as much as it should do, or at least to myself it should do, which would have broken the game up a hell of a lot more and kept it more fresh as you're going through the levels. Audio wise, I think that's probably where this shines the most, and I think if this audio wasn't as good as it is, and it is my kind of music after all, then I don't think this game would have been half as appealing to me. Why not take a listen? The good. I really do like the style of the game. The music is really good. I enjoyed that. When the game is doing its bit really well, it really does feel great. The bad. Unfortunately, when it's doing it really bad, it feels really samey. The lack of online leaderboards is kind of a strange move to make, and kind of overusing the same obstacles within certain areas is also another weird one to do. The score. There's no mistaking this is a really good game. Unfortunately, it's just not an excellent game, and that's why I'm going to have to give it a 3 out of 5. I can see what it was striving for, and I think if they went the extra mile and kind of like mixed it up a little bit more, this could have easily been a 4 out of 5, and it's a big shame it wasn't and they didn't. And as for my alternative, I'll be suggesting Skate City. I reviewed it not so long ago, so please go and watch the review, but it's the same sort of thing, a kind of endless runner type thing that's not an endless runner type thing, but on a skateboard and a lot more moves and the like. But like this game, I still enjoyed it, and it had lots to offer. And so, are you going to be picking up Aerial Knights Never Yield, or what are your thoughts on the game? Leave them down in the comments, after all that's where they belong. And feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. You'll be doing the channel a hell of a big favour, and also you'll be kept up to date on all my new videos. And if you want to go even further, come join us in our community Discord, where we like to chat, we also stream, and you know, we're just a friendly bunch in there. Because life is better when we switch together.